Welcome to the new episode of All That Jazz. I'm your host, Matyash, and I have with me Talmadge Spicer. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I love that. I don't
We
have
are
much guns,
here.
but you have. I think you have more.
I've been working on it, man. I'm in progress, bro. I'm under
Oh man,
construction.
I've never done this, but we are comparing already. Oh man, no, there's not much there, but a little bit.
No, you're strong, man. I see it.
Well, it's the Slavic blood. Slavic used to be, I don't know, slaves of Europe, I think. So yeah, I
Hmm.
think that's where it comes from, but I'm not quite sure. So I was asking before we started about the picture on the right. I really like it. So what does it represent for you?
Right. It's something that I saw online, through an ad, and it jumped out to me because uh what it signifies to me now is like inner peace, but specifically for your inner child, because growing up, we're not taught to be mindful or to
Yeah.
meditate or to have some type of relationship with yourself. And I think that that's something that we could definitely use, especially in the younger years in your developmental stages.
Yes.
So anytime I look over, it's just a very strong reminder to bring your inner child, to peace.
Yeah. It's now that you mention it, I sometimes I work with people that I have on the podcast. Like, you might as well, because I kind of promote them. So I'm like, I might as well use some of their services. And some people do inner child work, and but that's wow, that's fascinating to me. And I found out some effed up stuff about my own history actually,
Right, right.
because I think a lot of people have that, but when really traumatic things happen in your childhood, sometimes it seems like that sets you up for a pattern for life unless you can see it and change it.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the heartbreaking part about it is most of the time it goes completely under the radar. We're not
Yes.
aware of these patterns and these decisions, these definitions and meanings that we added to certain things that form our reality, form our entire experience. It's
Mm.
can't think
But
of many things more important than that.
yes, yeah, I think like the unconscious drives your life. Then it's like and then it's like a ship that's just on cruise control, and you can't access it. You don't know how to, how to change the direction, and it's really important. So but yeah, I failed to mention you are also a book author, and I love one of the title of your book, Have the Guts to Follow Your Guts. I just
Right.
love that title. Like, that is amazing, because I think a lot of times it requires guts to actually follow your guts. So actually just writing the book, it's like, wow, I have ambitions as well. But I think somebody that you're a practitioner because you actually you do it. You're not just, it's not just an idea, right? So how do
Right.
people get to that stage where it's not just an idea, but you actually start to execute what you have like in your guts? Like, I need to do this.
Right. Here's the thing, and I'm this is just coming to me as I speak. I don't think I've ever had these thoughts, but there is a challenge that I've experienced from getting things from your brain to getting your body in motion. And I think
Mm,
that we kind of take it for granted because we will say things like, just do it. Just do it. And even in your own head, you're laying in the bed and like, I should be doing this.
yeah.
Okay, get up and do it. But we don't move. So like it can't be as simple as just do it. Um, I think a lot of it comes from why. Why are you doing what you're doing? Do you believe that you can achieve what you want to achieve by doing what you're doing? These two things, I think the why is more for longevity. If you have a reason that's bigger than yourself, like if you're getting up in the morning because you have kids to feed, that's a pretty strong why. That's going to
Yes.
motivate you. You're going to get up, right? Um, Shoot, I lost my train of thought. Here we go. Bring it back. I said the why, and
Hmm.
do you remember what I said?
Well, the why, a lot of people have like kids, and that's a strong why that that brings forward to actually do
Oh,
what is
I
required.
remember.
Yeah.
I remember. Thank you. Thank you for holding the space.
No
The
worries.
the belief, right? This one is sneaky.
Mm,
So the why is easy. We can do an exercise to identify a really good why reason. We can do that.
yeah.
The sneakier part is, do you believe that you can achieve your goal, right? Because that self-doubt is one of the things that is in your subconscious mind, and it sabotages you without you completely being aware of it. You think you're just procrastinating. Really, you are afraid that I'm going to put out this energy, show up, and then fail. And I want to
Yes.
avoid that. But it's not like, oh, I'm afraid of failure. I'm afraid of failure. It's not always conscious. It's not always something you're aware of, but your body will sabotage itself and just lay in the bed.
Yeah. It's so prevalent. And is that is that part of the reason why you got into coaching, to inspire others to be more into action and to be like people, not just of wishful thinking, people wishful thinking, but actually put in the work and actually do something.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that um, so many people are unsatisfied with their lives.
Mm,
And most people, I think, believe that the way their life is the only way that it can be.
yeah.
Right. But there's a minority of folks that know that they can change their life. Right. They just don't know how. And if any of them are like me, they were ready to jump into entrepreneurship with both feet and skip over the a stage that I consider tremendously important, having skipped it myself and learned some very hard lessons. Is that you should be an entrepreneur before you ever become an entrepreneur,
Mm,
right? And the way that I came to that conclusion is by learning the hard way how connected your mental health was to your business health. Because when my mental health started to deteriorate, and I got a very dark space, started considering suicide and things like that, my business also started to deteriorate at the same time. Whereas before, both things were fine. I was able to, be happy and run a business successfully. And I think that is a huge challenge to build a relationship with yourself, but it's absolutely worth it. And if you get a successful business out of it at the same time, that's just a bonus,
mm.
you know?
So you're saying that kind of happiness is one of the keys, like getting yourself right, being right with yourself, because you might have a lot of money. I think there's also like a Johnny Cash song about that it's called The Satisfied Mind. And not many people have a satisfied mind, and you could be even rich, but you have still something eating at you inside, and you're like, well, I have to make more money, or have to be more liked, or have to be. So this is an obsession that never leaves some people. So do you think it's about like constantly adjusting the success level, like you're here but you want to come here and then here, or would it be better to be satisfied where you are, but kind of be like, I let me see if I can challenge myself to go one step further, or the third option would be, I want to be here but I'm here right now.
Well, I think that it's healthy. I think that it is human nature to set goals, to want to stretch, to want to expend this energy. Otherwise, what was the purpose of having the life if it's not meant to be used, for something,
Hmm.
right? And I think it's a good deal because when you have high goals, like I want to be able to travel, I want to have more money, I want to live in this house or have this car. All of those things are nice, but what they all require is money, right? Now, you have to make more money, and you can do it some nefarious ways. You can go rob a bank or something like that.
Right.
But what I believe is the best way to make more money is to provide more value, right? Because people
Mm,
are happy and willing to trade their money for something that will improve the quality of their life, right? So when you realize that, you realize that the key is not looking at what you can get, not obsessing over what you need and what you need to receive, but instead, what can I give?
yeah.
If you focus on what can you give, all of the rest of the things will be open to you. You can access whatever you want. You can live as humbly or as loud and proud, as you want.
Hmm. So, I think I've heard this a few times. Seems like almost like a cliche now. What the value I can give, value, value, value. But then you have to sit down and actually practically like be like, well, what are my skills? What am I good at? How can I contribute? Because I think yeah, like you said, if you in the back of your mind you're still like, oh, what can I get first without what can I give to the world? Then you run into a problem, right? It's more about what you put out there and what's valuable to people.
Right. I
Yeah.
think that if you have this program running that I need to receive and you're living in lack, you're constantly but subconsciously looking at what you don't have, right? So
Mm,
if you need to receive first, then your destiny is out of your control because what you receive is only based on what you give,
right.
right? And you'll always need something. I need more time, I need more money, I need more
Yes.
energy before I can start to give, because most of us are consumers.
Yes.
Entertain me, give me something, give me something. But that's a huge opportunity for givers, right?
Yes. Yes.
Huge opportunity for givers. There's all of these takers and like 10 givers out of 100, let's say, pulling numbers.
Hmm.
And the givers, okay, are like, okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you this. I'll give you this. I'll give you that. Just give me some money.
How did you start this path of I think were you an entrepreneur first before you were a coach?
It kind of happens simultaneously.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think I was always entrepreneurial minded for sure. I would say I was an entrepreneur first. I was born an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Did something help you along the way? Like any I know right now, on top of my head, Gary Vaynerchuk and people like that, their content, because they give out a lot of free content as well. I think people benefit a lot from it. So was there anybody that you kind of looked up to, or any kind of books that you where you're kind of like a mini Bibles that you like, constantly went back to and draw inspiration from?
Oh, there's so many, bro. I just had like so many people flash before my eyes. Like I'm really fully immersed in the personal development world, and I look up to people like Well, I've taken value from Zig Ziglar, Robert Kiyosaki, Dale Carnegie, Napoleon Hill.
Oh wow.
All of these books. Tony Robbins for sure. Les Brown, Lisa Nichols. I got her autograph right here on the wall
Oh,
on
that's
my
the
vision board.
secret lady.
Yeah, she was
Yeah,
in The
yeah.
Secret. Speaking of The Secret, Michael Beckwith,
Right, right, right.
Joe Dispenza. Say like I'm telling you, I could go on forever. I love these people.
Well, Joe Dispenza, I really love his work as well. That's a really significant work about visualization and changing the brain. And the
Mhm.
first person who said Zig Ziglar, I used to listen to his tapes years ago, and it was about, I loved his accent. He was like somewhere from a
That's
southern
my
state.
favorite part.
He had a wife. He called what did he call her? Ginger or something like
The redhead.
redhead. Right, right, yeah.
Like, and the redhead and I went in there and I just said, I looked at her one time and I said, you just can't do it. You just can't do it. I'm like, bro, I love listening to his voice, bro.
And some people you can just tell that they're good at heart. They have your good intention in heart, and now already you just have the uh your attention. They already have your attention just by
Mhm.
that, you know.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, like you said before, going back to earlier, I think there's also a Bruce Lee quote about that willingness is not enough. You have to act.
Mhm.
And that's such an important thing. Like you can have, like, there's a period of my life where I've just accumulated information. Like I would listen to Zig Ziglar and Tony Robbins a little bit here and there, but well, it wasn't a total waste of time because I was listening to that while I was playing video games oftentimes. So you know, to me, it wasn't a total waste of time because subconsciously I was getting some information, but still, for a long time I didn't do anything with it, let's say. So yeah, how do people get to that point though? Like how did you get to activate yourself after reading all these people and finally starting to do something?
Oh, oh yeah, because getting stuck in what was it called? It's not like being overwhelmed in information, but not like,
Yeah.
or like addicted to like YouTube videos and books and self-help and stuff. Um, it's real. That's real because it tricks the brain. It makes you feel like you're using your time well. But here's the thing, at different stages in your life, that might be just what you need. There was a period of my time where I was just absorbing information over and over again. And one of the things that I decided to put in as a rule for my life is, how when you hear some information that you've heard before and your initial reaction is, oh, I know
Yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah.
My rule is, if I'm not doing it, then I don't know it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
How,
So
how how much do you know it if you don't really do it?
right. So I figure if I'm not doing it, then I need to hear it again. Why? Because repetition is the father of learning.
Mm,
Right. So the more I hear it, the more likely I am to do it. I think, as I'm thinking out, live, that if you are somebody that needs to hear it again, then hear it again and then just deal with the guilt, because the guilt that you're not doing enough or you're not doing the right thing is just a fear,
mhm.
right? So absorb the content again. Look for another video if it's going to help you out. If it's in the name of personal development, eventually you're going to get to a point, and it could very much be frustrating to the point where it's like, oh, I watched all these YouTube videos and I'm still not doing anything.
Right.
And guess what? That's the exact energy that you needed to get up and actually do something,
Mm.
right? But if you
Uh,
beat yourself up for the stage that you're in, you're working against the process. You got to trust the process.
Trust the process, right? But I have to say, like, not to be down on myself, but I think I spent years on and off watching stuff like that, but not doing much. And
Mhm.
I remember this is a funny story. One time I was working this summer in Wyoming, and this coworker was he was supposed to be working, and we lived in a hotel because it was like in the middle of nowhere. And
Mhm.
this coworker Josh, he was the main chef there, the main cook, and he went to fetch him, and he's like, he knocked on his door, and this guy Josh was from Mississippi. He's like, "Get your ass in gear, boy." That's what he said. I feel like everybody needs like a little bit of a drill sergeant, kind of like, get your ass in gear and do something.
It's it, but it's time. It's time, bro.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
So I guess it has to be about, it can be done by anybody but you, like personally. Like you have to decide on a step. Like other people might have ideas, directions, but you have to, and in the end, you have to bring yourself to be like, yes, I'm gonna do something.
Right. Absolutely. You decide. That's the first step. Decide. A funny thing happens when you look at that word, or the prefix, the end of the word. I forget what it's called. The suffix,
Mhm.
side, right? Suicide, killing yourself.
Yeah.
Homicide, killing other people. But when you decide, you're killing off all other options.
Right.
Right? When I made the decision to no longer do anything that wasn't aligned with my passion and purpose, that's when I saw opportunities to launch my coaching business. right? Because my mind wasn't considering all these different things. How I'm gonna make money, how I'm gonna do this. I said, none of that. If it doesn't have to do with coaching, I'm not doing it. So I'm forced to figure out how to make an income from doing what I love. And that was
Mm,
powerful. Another thing is, as far as taking action, right? A lot of us, we look at the big goal, we look at all of the work we have to do all at once, and we overwhelm ourselves. I'm telling you, the only way to eat an elephant is bit by bit. You know what I'm saying?
right,
So
right,
break it down into small goals and then break those small goals down into the smallest, most minute action that you can take. I'm talking about, I want to go to the gym every day this month. Okay, go put on your shorts, right? That's your
right,
goal. That's your focus. Go get your gym clothes on. Okay, get to the front door. Oh, pat yourself on the back. You did it. Go for
right,
your
right,
run,
right,
and before long, your brain starts to see yourself different. It starts to look at, like, for me, talking about my story is, in fact, with the gym, there's times where I didn't want to go to the gym, but now I've gone to the gym so many times, there's no reason for me to resist going to the gym. I literally just go, I survive, I come back, and I rest. And that's the new story. Before it was, oh, I gotta give out energy, I
yeah,
gotta work out, and
right,
it's not that, because I had to stop thinking about all of that stuff. Just put your shorts on, just get dressed, just
mm,
get dressed, and it grows from there. There's no shame in baby steps. Baby steps matter.
right, right. And from a quantum perspective, I think it's Heisenberg Principle. I heard somebody say that the more often you make a choice, the more likely you are to make it again. But I guess the hard part is to first make that choice, a new choice for the first time, because that's not something new to you. Like, oh, I'm gonna start writing a book. Well, I've never written a book before, and that's a really new choice. But if you make it, like you were talking yesterday, well, in me, it was like 2 in the morning today when we talked, but it was about you're breaking down how to write a book, and you're just like, well, make an outline and do this and do that, and so into simple, manageable steps so you can start something, right? But
Right.
it, what you said before is the power of habit as well. Like you go to the gym, but now it's become such a part of you that you go like every day because it's like, this is what I do.
Right, right. And you just really brought me present to that. I'd never really realized that, because I was conscious and aware. I was like, yo, I want to live a life where going to the gym, I'm not even thinking about it. It's 5 o'clock, 5:30. You already know what I'm doing.
Right, right.
And I'm there. I'm there. It wasn't easy, bro. Now
Like
that I'm
5
looking back.
5:30 a.m.
No, 5:30 p.m. But I
Okay,
did
okay.
used to work out in the morning. I
Right,
just recently switched to the night, and I'm so glad I did.
right.
Life is so much better.
Right.
Bro.
There's no shame in that because I heard Floyd Mayweather, apparently he used to like wake up like 11 or at noon, and then he'd start working out like in the evening, and then he'd go to bed like late at night. So he had a different schedule, but it worked for him. He had a
Right.
different schedule, but and I remember the audience that he was talking to, like they kind of laughed, but I mean, Floyd didn't laugh. Like this is his schedule and worked for him, and obviously he's had a massive success, and just like that habit of like doesn't matter, because like I think we put a lot of emphasis on, because like when you said 5:30, immediately my mind went to, oh, must be AM, right? But it doesn't matter as long as you put in the work, right?
Right, right. And that's one of the traps to personal development, I think. They try to get, it's like, oh, you need the roadmap to success. Here it is. You got to wake up at 4:30 in the morning. You got to do this. And I'm like, trying to follow these directions step by step, being a part of the 4 a.m. club, and
Right,
meditating every single day and doing all of this stuff. And I realized it's less of a direct roadmap and more of like a buffet, right?
right,
You get to choose what you want, what works for you, when it works for you, and you get to play around with it and just see what's the right combination of things
Hmm.
for you. When I was trying to fit their mold, I was beating myself up. Like anytime I wasn't consistent, oh, so lazy, all this, and it drains even more energy out of you.
Right, right.
But these are tools that are supposed to serve you, not the other way around.
You know what it is as well. Like people compare themselves to like workhorses. Like one of my favorite players, the late Kobe Bryant, had really insane schedule. He would like wake up like 3 or 3:30 in the morning and be the first one in gym. And but his rationale as well was to put in more time than anybody else. So he'd practice like 2 or 3 times a day and have rest in between and all that stuff. Because the rationale was that the more if you consistently put in more time than the other person, you're gonna be in 1 year and 2 years from now, you're gonna be so far ahead than others, you know. And then there's truth to that.
Right.
But I think wow, because he was such a like obsessive, dedicated. Maybe that's like for the like top because he also kind of enjoyed the grind, I think. And speaking about process, if you really enjoy the process, like you're already like winning, as it were.
Right. That's the key.
Right.
Yeah,
Like if
I
you
think so.
yeah.
I think. Go ahead.
If you really enjoy writing that book, and I think it has a higher likelihood of being a great book.
Right. Because you're transferring that energy into it. You're manifesting the energy into something physical. Yeah, that's always
Yeah.
the case. And I think that enjoying the process is like a cheat code.
Right.
It's almost like a cheat code. Like you get to build as much as you want, go as high as you want, as long as you just love the process. Why? Because you're not thinking about so many of the other things or distractions that weigh you down and hold you back. It's
Mm.
like I'm creating, I'm creating, I'm creating. And I think that's what we were created to do is create, which is why it's always important that we set the bar a little bit higher, because the more we want for ourselves, the more we have to create for the world.
There was I read a few books by Mr. Donald Trump, and he was most of his books are about obviously business. And he said that he knew this guy that worked on Wall Street because his father and his relatives and all that worked on Wall Street. But this guy wasn't interested. He was miserable. But so Trump's attitude was always like, do what you're passionate about. And he saw that this guy was really liked landscaping and all that, like designing things and all that. So he told him for years, you should go into designing golf courses and stuff like that. And then eventually he took his advice and he became really successful, but it took him a while because of the programming. His father was in Wall Street, so he was expected to be in Wall Street, but he was miserable doing it. So I
Mhm.
guess part of it, what we're talking about, is finding something you love to do. And
Right.
because you're gonna put in more, like let's see, like Kobe Bryant playing injured, like you wouldn't go, like if you really hated your job, you wouldn't go to work injured. You'd be like, call in sick, man. I ain't going to work.
Right. Yeah. Easy. Easy. First instinct.
Yeah.
Hey man, have you heard of the term ikigai?
Ikigai, no, no.
Ikigai. Ikigai is a Japanese term that means purpose for being, right?
Okay.
And it's the cross between something that you love, something that you're good at, something that the world needs, something that you can monetize, and that's the last one. It's something
Mm-hmm.
that you can monetize. And it's important that I think that we touch down there, that we ask ourselves these questions. What is the thing that I love? What am I good at? What does the world need? How could I monetize that? Just those clarity questions alone can put you in the vicinity of your buffet that you get to try things from. I try a little bit of this. Do I really like that? I tried social media management. I thought that that was gonna be my because I'm on social media anyway.
Right.
It wasn't it. But
Mm.
here's the thing. What happened was when it was time to reach out to people that were supposed to be my clients, potential clients and stuff, I had so much resistance. I didn't want to do it. I was trying to force myself to do that for like 2 years, didn't make a dollar, invested in all of these programs, these courses and all types of stuff. And then, like we were talking about earlier, I decided I'm not going to do anything for money that's not aligned with my passion and purpose.
Right.
I have no problem reaching out to people about coaching, man, having these conversations and jumping on podcasts. In fact, I love to do it. You know what I'm saying? So the work gets done before you even know you're doing it.
Right.
If you can identify your icky guy.
I think you contacted me on Potter. Well, that website doesn't exist anymore, actually, but you know, it did its job.
Yeah. I gotta check that out. Gotta check
Yeah,
that out. I
well,
actually have a team.
oh, you have a team. The
Yeah, I have
team
a
does for. Oh, okay.
yeah.
So you have
Organization.
like a secretary or something, like a scout, and they do some of the finding
Yeah.
for you. Oh, that's cool.
This is new to me, but it's producing some very fruitful relationships and very exciting conversations. So
Mhm.
I like it.
Let's switch to because I think you're obviously from the picture you're a spiritual man. So what's the relationship between spirituality and what you do?
Well, spirituality is the basis in which all things I think exist. I think spirituality is just the acknowledgement and the awareness that there is an energy present, right? Something that animates us, something that brought us here, some reason to be here. And what I've come to find out, and I think that the way we think about spirituality is kind of the bridge between science and religion, right? Because we look at metaphysics and we look at frequency, vibration, and quantum physics, and all of these things, and it brought us to an understanding of who we are, right? And more importantly, what we're capable of, and how to use our powers as humans, our power of focus on one thing, right? Our
Yeah.
powers of communication effectively, all of these things. I think those are all a result of becoming a little bit more spiritual,
Mm.
right?
And I think it's in common parlance is also used like I like his vibe and things like that. Like things I think those words were not used if I'm not mistaken 20 years ago as much as now because like people use it a lot more often like something off about his vibe or her vibe was off like this something that's so used so often now and I think it used to not be, right?
Right. I think so. I mean, it feels like a very popular, trendy term right now, a bunch of them, a collection of them. But I wouldn't say that the experience didn't exist, the
Right.
experience of somebody's vibe. Maybe we
But
just called it something different, you
I
know?
think a lot of it is appearance though. They'd be like, I like his vibe, like this, I like his vibe right
Oh,
now. You see my
why you did
laptop
it to
here?
him? Why
Wow.
you block us?
This is like enter the matrix. Take the
Yes,
blue pill or
indeed.
the red pill. No, which drink to take? I don't know if you can see
Mhm.
that. Um, man, it's oh yeah, let's okay. When I saw The Matrix for the first time, man, I thought I was like 14 and I was blown away by that movie. Did you have that experience with The Matrix?
Not the first time, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
It was a movie. I don't know how young I was. I was probably about the same age.
Hmm.
I'm 31 now.
I'm 35 now.
35. Okay, I was even younger than you then. I was
Yeah,
probably like
yeah.
11, then. 11, 9, 10, or something like that.
It came
But
out 99,
99,
1999.
I was
Yeah.
9. Yep, I was
Yeah,
9.
yeah. Wow. Okay.
So, but not the first time. I didn't catch it when I was 9, but when I watched it later on, I realized that it wasn't a movie. It was a documentary. Yes, man.
It's
Matrix was a documentary.
documentary about life, like
Right,
metaphysically.
right. Mhm.
It's yeah, it's quite has concepts that are quite advanced. And yeah, I would say spiritual in a way, but it's all mixed together in a popular uh
Mhm.
in a popular way.
Right,
Yeah, but I think a lot of people really were impacted by that. Yeah, let's talk about the process of writing the book itself, because I think that might help some people.
Mhm.
Um, so how did you, when you first, what's the first book you wrote?
Have the guts to follow your guts while playing it safe is the biggest risk of all.
Hmm. Okay, so this came out recently, right? Like last year or 2 years ago?
Last year, I hope
Last
was
year.
it? No, it wasn't last. Was it last year? Time has been flying, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Like
It's
19, what,
2021 already, right?
2019 or 20, yeah, 2021 is now.
It wasn't 2020. It was 2019. It was 2 years ago. Wow, 2 years
Right,
ago.
right.
Ooh, I
Man,
remember
time
you when you was
flies, time
this
flies.
big. Wow. You say things like, "Oh, I want to write a book someday. I'll get to it. I want to write it." And then next thing you know, you wrote a book 2 years ago.
Right. And you're like, well, how did that happen?
Yes, sir. You was gonna ask me a question though.
Yes, yeah. How did you manage to get yourself in gear to write the book? Like, and actually decide it and then like go for it and write the book.
Well, I think I had a lot of help from a catalyst, my friend Kenny Jones, who coaches and trains people to get their books to best-selling status.
Mm,
um, I was having a conversation with him and I was telling him about how, yeah, book is on the radar, eventually I'll get to it and write a book, but one of my biggest things was nobody's going to read it. I didn't think my life was interesting enough at that point. It was like, I didn't have the 7 cars and 3 houses and stuff and
yeah,
traveled the world. Um, and he said, well, what if you died tomorrow? What would you leave behind? Like, what would your legacy be? Who would write your story if you died
right.
tomorrow? I
Ooh,
was like, wow. And that kind of triggered a whole avalanche of additional thoughts. Like, well, I mean, he's kind of right. Like, what if that did happen? Like, would my book ever get written? But also, um, just because I write a book now doesn't mean I can't write another book later on. You know what I'm saying? So write
yeah,
the book. You use what you've learned so far to impact and influence other people, and just let it be one of the things that you've done. It's not, the big shebang bang. You're not going to ruin your reputation if the book isn't the greatest book for your first book, bro. But you got to
right.
get one under your belt to even be in that ring, be in that arena. So that was a big motivator. That brought down a whole lot of blockages for me. See, that's one of the things that we ignore, is that we just looking at the thing, but we're running into a wall. We can see over the wall, we're trying to run to that thing. You can break down certain barriers, certain limiting beliefs. That's what happened there. Those limiting beliefs got crumbled.
Mm,
Now I was in a space where I could say, okay, I'm going to write a book that's just beyond the barriers. Then the next question is, well, how? What are you going to start on? Do you write the entire book right now, or maybe let's think about a title? What do you want to talk, or what do you want to talk about? What would be the message of the book? One little question leads to another. Now you got a title. What are some of the different topics you want to talk about that support that overall idea? Have the guts to follow your guts. Well, have the guts I could give you a couple of the chapter names right now.
can you show
After I
us
decided,
the front of the book?
oh yeah, the table of contents. I mean, I know them. I don't even know why I was looking into them. This is the book, by the way.
Nice.
But yeah, some of the topics that support the overall idea: have the guts to follow your guts, have the guts to tell the truth, have the guts to
Mm,
decide, to make a decision, have
yeah,
a guts to take an opportunity. A lot of us have opportunities that we're just afraid to take because it's cross country or something like that. Have the guts to take the opportunity, have the guts to leave the opportunity. A lot of us are stuck in things that was an opportunity but aren't anymore,
right.
and we're afraid to leave. And it goes throughout 9 chapters. Another one is have the guts to tell your story. That's my story about writing the book that you're reading
Mm,
simultaneously. It's like a inception or something like that, right?
right.
Have the guts to travel. Just so many, I think, important topics in this book as far as just having courage. And having courage requires that you build a relationship with yourself. It requires that you develop a sense of love,
Right.
unconditional, for yourself and those around you. And I think that's kind of like the hidden gem in the book, is that yes, we want a bunch of money and all this stuff, but in order to get that, you've got to love yourself and appreciate yourself very deeply.
Yeah. And also you mentioned courage. I think courage is so extremely important. I remember the first time I never traveled, and then I decided I'm gonna go to see a lecture of David Hawkins in Long Beach, but Los Angeles, California. And also went from Central Europe to there, and it was a huge leap. And but just getting there was kind of like every day when I went to get a new passport done and did this, it was like small courage steps, because like at the time I was more like timid, and it was everything was like hard for me. So even the smallest steps were like, oh yeah, I'm exercising the courage muscle. So I think there is something to that. Like if you, I think I like to bring up Bruce Lee, because to me he's also like one of the idols. Like he said, and if I followed this for years, I don't know where I'd be. But he said, do two things every day that scare you. And imagine if somebody like followed that program like religiously for a year, where would you be? That's just crazy to me. Like
On
just
the
that
moon
simple
or
concept, you
right,
know? Because it requires, even if it's a small step, but every small step you take, it's further, it gets you further and further along the road, you know? So
right,
even for you now, it was writing the book. So so that's a step of courage, because you don't know how that's gonna play out.
right.
And you have to battle the inner perfectionist as well, that wants the
Absolutely.
first book to be as successful as Harry Potter or something. And so or
Right,
you know, Napoleon Hill book or something. But you know,
right.
you are where you are, and you don't have you know, Andrew Carnegie there to help you. So
Yeah. Plus, I would need like 150 years or something like that to catch up to them, because that book is timeless. That I need some time. Yes,
right.
indeed. But all of it, it starts, it starts with a decision, and then you go to one sentence after the next. If you want to write a book, the simplest advice I could give is start writing. Just write something.
All right.
Have
Yes,
you
sir.
heard of like the eighth wonder of the world?
No.
I think according to Warren Buffett, the eighth wonder of the world is compound interest. Right.
Oh,
Yeah, that financial topic. So like, how your money grows over time with just a small percentage every single year. I think the same thing happens with small actions, is that they get compounded. So you have one action, two, now you got three, then it goes up to, you got what, seven, you know what I'm saying?
right,
Like
right, right.
energy bank, energy interest.
That's interesting. So you relate, I never heard that before. So you relate compounding not just to money, but actually to actions.
Right.
So once
Habits.
you
Yep.
take actions and take action every day, that compounds on itself. And like I said, with courage muscle, you can take more bigger muscles, bigger, yeah, you build bigger courage muscles, and you can take bigger actions. That
Right.
all makes sense now.
But we try to take the huge big actions all up front and get
Right.
either overwhelmed or burnt out or discouraged and stuff. I'm telling you, just put your running shoes on, bro. Just write one sentence. I'm telling you, you get so much momentum to write two sentences. Next thing you know,
Right. Like if you try the whole thing at once, it's almost like you're gonna, you know, go to the gym and lift 1,000 pounds all
right.
at once. Be like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. Yeah, of course you can't.
And then the bar chokes you out, and I'm never coming to the gym again. I'm never coming back.
By the way, when you go to the gym, is it more cardio or is it more like weights? Well, what do you focus on?
I've been taking classes at the Method downtown LA,
Oh,
and it's been a lot of cardio, man. But I'm also taking boxing, so that's a lot of cardio. But I make sure that I get some weights in, because I have
Mm,
to. But if I let them just do whatever they want, I'll just be
right.
doing running all day.
So, because you're in Los Angeles, you ever do like I know Joe Rogan does his he likes jujitsu and I don't think he goes to a like official school. He goes to Eddie Bravo, 10th Planet, whatever. You ever tried like any kind of martial arts like that? Because I think that's very humbling. Because like a guy that's a lot smaller than you can like choke you out really easily if they know what they're doing.
Right, right. I haven't tried it, but I'm definitely interested in it. I'm gonna give it a go.
As I think that's in LA, so you're in that place. So that's a place of opportunity, and also I think Los Angeles is also a place of danger. I associate it for some reason because I know it's not an easy place to live, right?
I mean, I haven't had any trouble, but I know the reputation though. And at the same time, depending on where you look, I think you can find that reputation anywhere. It was in New York. It's out here. In Idaho, they said don't go up top because it's full of racists. Don't go North Idaho. It's full of
North
like white
Idaho.
supremacists and stuff.
Okay.
So
Okay.
danger is always present, but you gotta have the guts to follow your guts and go anyway.
Right, right, right. Or like the inner city of Chicago or something like that. Like,
Yeah,
oh, be
yeah.
careful.
Take it
Be-
easy.
There's differences. There's differences in scale. All right.
Right. But it's
Uh,
always going to exist is the point, I think.
right, right. Let's talk about coaching a little bit because how did you get into that? That's really, really interesting field to get into.
Right. So in 2014, I had my first business opportunity, and that took me from Jersey to Idaho, and everything was great. Started my own business. We're making a bunch of money. I got a big, large, happy team. And like I said, it was great until it wasn't. Right.
Mm,
So because I had left everything and
in
everyone that I
Jersey.
knew behind, yeah, in New
So
Jersey.
wait, so you're not, I thought originally you're from LA, but that makes sense. You're from Jersey originally. Okay. That's
No, I'm
cool.
actually from Brooklyn originally.
Oh, a New
Yeah,
Yorker. All right. All
yeah, I'm
right.
from New York, and I moved to Jersey. I did college and high school out there. But then yeah, after college, I ended up moving to Idaho and leaving behind everybody and everything that I knew, including my relationship. It made my intimate relationship long distance, which was stressful because I'm all the way over here trying to do something I've never done. And a lot of the people that I used to see and contact regularly just wasn't there for any support. If I was going through something and needed to talk or anything like that.
Right.
And my girlfriend, my partner, wasn't that person that I could lean on either. In fact, she was worried about what I'm out here doing and, questioning me and stuff like that.
Oh, you left her in Brooklyn.
I left her in Jersey.
Oh man. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. And so things started to change with me internally, like mentally, right? I started getting depressed and overwhelmed and got into a really dark space. I got to meet up face to face with a lot of my shadows. Ended up not committing, contemplating suicide.
Right, right, right. I know what you meant.
And right. And I got to this point, I remember vividly, I was on top of a parking garage, a parking structure, and I was looking down over the edge, and it was just me there. And I remember my brain, like my mind, my imagination just slipped into like, what if I just, right
Ooh,
now. And
ooh.
I felt the freedom and I want to call it freedom because that's what it was, of falling to the ground like as an escape. And what I learned from that was I didn't actually want to die. I just wanted a relief of pressure, which I got from that situation. So I made a decision at that point. I said, if I'm not going to do this right now and I'm going to choose to live, then I might as well live on purpose and do something, meaningful with my life. What's the point of having life just to not live it the way you want to, right? So that was a turning point in my life. And what I learned from it all was how connected your mental health was to your business health. Because
Mm,
when I wasn't good, my business wasn't good anymore either.
right, right.
And I wanted to serve people that are trying to make the jump out of their job and into their dream by way of entrepreneurship, by introducing them to this idea of becoming an entrepreneur first and getting mindful and
Mm,
being aligned and being passionate about what you do, because those are the biggest tools that can help you withstand the ups and the downs and the lefts and the rights that come with entrepreneurship. It's not like employment where you just
right.
show up, you do the same thing every single day, you clock out at the same time. There's a different level of person
You have
that
to
you
be
need to be to get
self-motivated,
entrepreneur.
right?
Right. All of
Right.
these different things. You have to fall in love with personal development. And I just wanted to be the type of support that, I feel like I could have used in that time.
Mm. Was that the scene where you are contemplating suicide? Is that in Idaho?
It was in Idaho, yeah, Boise,
Oh,
right
that's
across the street from City Hall.
oh wow. That's a good movie scene right there in Idaho, while contemplating suicide, all the way from Brooklyn.
Right. Yeah.
By the way, is that because I wouldn't peg it for Brooklyn? Is that because like did your accent change while living in Idaho and then California, or is that
I
just
think
me?
I think it might, bro. I think it might because I lived in Jersey for a good amount of years, almost 10 years or something like
Oh,
that.
right, right.
Uh, then Idaho, California. I even lived in Louisiana for 3 months too.
Oh, wow. You go to LSU or something?
No, no, I had another partner whose family is from Louisiana, so we spent some time down there before we moved to California.
Right. Louisiana sounds like fun. A lot of artists and stuff like that. A lot of am I thinking right? Wine? Is it a lot of
Wait,
wine there? No, not.
nah, no, wine is in Cali.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, yeah, right, right. Cali grows the wine. Um,
Yeah.
cool. Are you into sports?
Oh, not really.
No, you don't follow
Not
any
really.
basketball or anything like that?
No, I don't.
Okay. All right,
Giants.
lastly, this might be controversial a little bit, but so I'm just warning the audience. It doesn't need to, but the vaccines and all that that's happening in the world. What do you make of what's happening? Like the potential. I think the Biden administration was talking about potentially between states having the vaccine passports, but they were like, oh, at this point it might be too controversial. But just the fact that they're thinking about it is to me like shocking. Like they would do it if the people didn't rebel,
Right.
or it
Well,
wasn't unpopular.
hmm
So what
that's
do you think of all this business?
hmm. Well, I've been pretty detached from it, like intentionally detached from it,
Right.
right? Uh there's only but so much energy that I have. Like my focus is my energy, and what I feel like what I put my energy into will grow, right? It'll expand. It may consume me, right? So I got to be careful what
Okay.
I
Okay.
allocate my energy to. Um, and what I think being set in the stage that way is that I didn't really choose the environment that I live in now. I had to overcome regardless of whatever happens, regardless of whatever's out of my control. And I know we feel like we do have a lot of control and influence on the situation, um and maybe you do. So I allow people that believe that they have the influence and they have the drive to have opinions about it to have that. But I think that the world is doing what it does.
Right.
It's being unpredictable. It's throwing different challenges in the mix. And I think at the end of the day, the whole purpose is just so that we can learn more about ourselves, what we're capable of as far as love, expose different fears that we have. You know, I was just talking to my uh, family just before I jumped on here, and I remember saying that, yo, I'm just not afraid. Like, I'm not afraid of the vaccine. I'm not afraid not to get the vaccine. I'm not afraid of COVID. Just not scared. And it's tough to be in that position when so many people are feeling super anxious. A lot of people have lost, loved ones, and
Yeah.
some people, my mother, matter of fact, got triggered just from having a conversation like, don't take the vaccine. You can't take the vaccine because I don't want you to die and things like that. I don't think I would die. Like, I don't really don't. But I don't look at the vaccine as saving me either, because I've been fine, this
Right, right,
entire
right.
time. Felt healthy. I feel really good. But I have another side of the family that are like, yo, make sure your ass is vaccine before you think about coming over here.
Oh,
So
really?
we got both sides of the argument right there. But me personally, I think that I'm more neutral for the sake of peace of mind. And that might seem just like ignorant, like put your head in the sand type stuff. But it's definitely a deep one to get into, bro. I think that I think this is where it stems from, bro. That scene that I just told you about
Yep.
in Idaho.
Yep.
I feel like in that time, first one thing happened, my ego died. Like, my life was no longer about me. It wasn't, about me. But another thing that happened was I got to come to terms with the fact that I'm gonna fucking die. Like, death is
Right.
inevitable, and it could have happened right there. It could happen by walking out and getting hit by a bus right now.
Hmm.
It's much more, I think, beneficial and advantageous to me to do things that build a legacy that outlive me.
Right.
Right? What are they gonna say about me when I die? Because I know it's inevitable. It's gonna happen someday. I don't know what day is gonna be. I don't know what's gonna take me out, but something's gonna take me out. So let me focus on writing another book, because when it does, you know what I'm saying? I want to have touched a million people and inspired them to live a life by design. It's like
Right.
a kamikaze mission type thing.
Mm. So yeah, I get the sense that even if I pose a political question, you always go back to I want to inspire people. So this is because no, it's important because I feel that the politics can be so divisive. And I've experienced this by any opinion I have, post on Facebook, with my 5,000 friends, well, some of them friends, whatever. I have those people there, and it's very polarizing. Sometimes when I post it, like I lose like a few friends, but I'm like, I didn't really need them anyway if they can't accept this my different take. So it's very polarizing. Where if you have a single-minded focus like you do on having these people succeed, then maybe having schlepping along some other issue would be maybe more divisive to people, especially if it's not important to you. So then that would be artificially like making yourself into something that you're not, right?
Right.
Right. Yeah, so I think that's the lesson here, though. Don't pretend to be anybody else. Just be who you are.
Right. And
Yeah.
I'm not, I want to be clear. I'm not like a middle of the road type of guy, right?
Right,
Like,
right.
I do feel strongly about certain things that are divisive and polarizing. And I'm expressive about those things,
Hmm.
COVID doesn't happen to be one of those things. But politics was one of those things for a long time. My skin color is politicized, bro. I'm a political statement, just existing, bro.
Oh, no, me
Uh,
me as well. I mean, bro, like it's so crazy. I don't know if you know the state of politics in UK. I'm back in university in Scotland, and we had to there was a one suggested reading called by a black author, a lady, I forget her name, but it's called "Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race." So already it's making me a bit defensive, like what this title. But I read the book. I read the book, and I kid you not, somewhere it suggests. This is just even hard for me to say this, but it suggests somewhere in the book that like if you're a white person, you're a racist, even if you don't think you are. just blatantly stated in the book. And I questioned somebody in the university and I said, oh, she never said that. And then I quoted that directly because she was very snippy about it. And then I just left it like, this is, but it's a direct quote from the book. I was like, man, this is not, this is the making us against, pitting us against each other because
Right.
of history and what, not what I did, but what some people, I don't know, 100 years ago did. And therefore we're going to judge everybody based on what happened. Like, man, it doesn't sit right with me, this kind of resentment politics, man.
Right. I think that I have something for that, bro. I think that first, I think that she may have, and I don't have the context, but I think that she may have meant like in the way of benefiting from it or having certain ideologies passed down. You know, we talk a lot about subconscious minds, the things that
Yeah.
we're not aware of. I think she may have been addressing that. But I also want to add that by my definition of racism, which could be valid or not to anybody listening, we're all racist. I think that a racist is somebody who believes that race is a justifiable way to categorize people. It's the belief that race is a thing because we know that
Mm.
it's a social construct. So believing that I can address these people as black people and those people as white people and add characteristics to what that means, whether good, bad, indifferent, whatever, then you're a racist. But that's just my definition.
But okay, Talmadge, hold on. This is a lot. Like if you go by the standard definition that racism is that you hate people of a different color, then what you said is absolutely wrong, isn't it?
Well, you would have to believe that you can categorize somebody by race before you can hate them. Or,
Sure,
you know what I'm saying? So you
sure,
have to believe in race before you can hate somebody for being a race.
sure. But it's still like about it's about mostly about hatred, isn't it though?
I mean, yeah, that's how we use it. It's about
Prejudice.
hatred. It's about hatred, but you could also find some definitions that say racism is a system. It's a
Right, right,
system
right, right.
of policies that do target and disadvantage a certain group.
Okay, since we're talking about this in California as well, and there's a race between Newsom and somebody I really like, Mr. Larry Elder. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's the Larry Elder is I think what's his name? Gavin Newsom is the governor, and he's Democrat. He's white, and Larry Elder is the Republican. He's black, and he has a radio show and all that. Had it for years, but he's running now because he's like, I might as well because I've been speaking against this for years. What's happening in California and the things he thinks are wrong. So yeah, I guess I'm asking, what do you think is going to happen? I don't know if you follow much.
I have no clue, not even the slightest clue, brother. Uh, there's a YouTuber that I follow, Meet Kevin. He's also running from,
Kevin?
yeah, Meet. His name is Meet Kevin on YouTube, and his YouTube is all about like the stock market, a little
Okay.
bit about politics, but mostly about money and finance. I hear he's running for governor of California. I'd love to hear what his policies are. But other than that, I haven't been following at all. I mean, I
Right.
kind of tapped out like after the Trump era, bro. Like I was in it. I mean, you
Oh,
kind of, it's easy to get sucked in.
right. I was probably on the other side. I would really like what he did, especially in the Middle East. And he destroyed ISIS the first year. And now you see, oh, don't get me started on Afghanistan, what Biden did with his impotent foreign policy. Whatever. My cat's just here. All right. I was gonna go somewhere, but let's see. Oh, but the reason I mentioned Larry Elder is there's a really famous video of him speaking to Dave Rubin at the time when Dave Rubin was liberal, and Larry Elder basically saying, no, there's no such thing as systemic racism. And I find that to be really interesting because actually that was the pivotal moment in Dave Rubin's life where he, in a sense, started to convert from not being liberal anymore, not being on the left. And I find him, Larry Elder, to be a powerful speaker because he can change minds. So he can, but obviously, yeah, you never heard of him, so you can't speak what the man does. But man, yeah, I'm definitely in the Larry Elder camp because he's he's smart. I think he's a lawyer by education, but obviously works on radio. And but yeah, like I said, politics is very polarizing. So if you go down that road, okay, let me let us add let us
We can touch on
finish.
that. We could touch on that if
Okay.
you want to. He said there's no systemic racism.
Yeah, I don't have the video on me right now, but actually
You
I could
have thoughts
play
on
it.
it? We don't have to do.
that
Actually,
that would be
can you
crazy
pause
if I
for 2 seconds?
yes.
All right, I will run to the bathroom. Come right back.
Okay.
All right, and we're back.
Yes. Wow. I hate when they do this, but you know how YouTube does this, you probably didn't notice this because I sometimes they sometimes bury certain results further along than they need to be. Like they used to be like on YouTube when you type, this is my experience because I've been on YouTube, like watch videos, countless video. I probably spent altogether years of my life on
Yeah.
YouTube. Not kidding. So it used to be back in the day when you wrote a specific sentence or whatever or phrase, it would YouTube search would find exactly the match what you search for. But now it's not always the case, especially political. It comes what's favored, like almost like they're sponsored. What's favored, like a Google, or what's favored first, and then the what identically matches the name comes out somewhere buried later on. And I don't like that because I was gonna show you this, but I'm like, where's the specific video that I specifically like about Larry Elder? Yes, well, this would yeah, let's finish on a coaching note. Did you ever have like a client where you're like, man, this is crazy, but like had a really negative experience where you're like, I'm not gonna work with this person?
Oh, I thought you was gonna go somewhere else with that question. Like, I ain't no way. Um, uh, there. Yeah, I mean, everybody that I work with has to be vetted, you know. We have to
Mm,
qualify you. We have to see what you're experiencing, what are you doing to help the situation, what have you tried, you know, what do you want to try? All of these different things. But we also need to know your story and your state. And there's some people that call up and it's like, yeah, I'm in an abusive relationship and I just want to get out of my abusive relationship and
right.
be at peace and stuff like that. Or, I just had a terrible childhood. You know, you could see that these people don't have like financial goals or entrepreneurial goals, which is what I focus on. They just want peace of mind to get their sanity back, things like that to become grounded again. And in those cases, I have a relationship with some online therapy companies, and I'll refer them
Hmm.
to therapy if that's what's needed.
Okay. So, what kind of people can reach out to you? Like, what do you specialize in? Like, as far as getting people ahead?
But what my number one offer is the program called GYST, GYST, and that stands for Get Your Shine Together, right? It encompasses one-on-one coaching as a level of support, group coaching, and an online course. Right
Hmm.
now, we're still building out way more options and things that I'm excited about. But the idea, the intention behind GIST is to develop, to support anyone who enrolls in it in developing the type of clarity, consistency, and confidence that they need to live a life by design instead of default.
Hmm. Awesome. So, where can people find you if they want to have your coaching by you?
Let's go to talmadgespicer.com. We're
Okay.
gonna
All right.
drop that in the description below, right?
Yes, we shall do that. Um,
talmadgespicer.com. I'm also on Instagram. I produce a ton of content on my coach T Spice on Instagram and TikTok. And I'm Talmadge Spicer on Facebook as well. And I look forward to connecting with you.
all right. Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, Talmadge Spicer, for being on the podcast.
Bro, this has been so much fun. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on, and thank you everybody for listening or watching the podcast.